It has to be said, we won the game, and in football, that's the thing that matters the most. However, there are also other things that need to be addressed, especially since we're playing against Mamelodi Sundowns, and we also want to dominate games and win them during the match and not have to go to the last 7 minutes of additional time for us to win the game. There were good things that we did, and we're going to talk about those things. And there were also things that were not so great that we did, and there were horrible things that we did. So, what were those things? Let us find out. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo. I am your host. This is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. I'm a Khosi Football Club. I am recording outside and there is a lot of wind. So forgive me if you see me do this, because that's because the tripod is falling. Anyways, we are going to obviously start with Umlifinsegi and the starting lineup. We're going to look at him and his decisions throughout the entire game. And the first one is, when it comes to lineup here too, the lineup was good. The lineup was perfect, and I actually feared when I saw and looked at our forwards. Yes, this is a good lineup, but Athlone Stadium is very small, and I thought we were not going to be able to utilize the space in behind. So I feared Uguti the space that we need for those passes to Pre or Umodi, it might be too small. But it worked out well because we got a few chances for Umodi before we actually even scored, and they turned out to be offside, but still we're utilizing that space. So the lineup was good in all the aspects in all the areas of the pitch, and I was happy to see all of that, because a lot of people for some reason were expecting Peterson to be benched. Here's the thing, I want to address this with football fans, with Kaizer Chiefs fans, whether you go to the stadium or not. These are people who make mistakes, but they can also redeem themselves. How we function as a society, how we work as Abalandeli Chiefs or Abalandeli Polo in general, it's puzzling. Peterson makes a mistake last week, says Befuna Sim drop. Upvuma would have come back and probably, God forbid, would have made a mistake as well. They would have said out, and then they would have asked for another keeper to be signed. That keeper comes in, he makes a mistake, we ask for the same thing. Until when? Like, I saw this thing happening yesterday. Umodi got the first chance. Pule Modi, the guy who just buried his mom this past weekend, he gets a chance. He was offside, but he misses. Second time again, he gets a chance, he misses. I think that was within 20 minutes. Ngihleli kuma stands. Hayi sebetha abantu. Akhishwe umdlali wethu sommemeza simfune an entire season, sithi kube singathola uPule Modi, we need uPule Modi. Pule Modi makes two freaking mistakes for Kaizer Chiefs, sesifuna khishwe. Guys, no, these things are very, abantu, they will end up saying, it's the Kaizer Chiefs jersey, it's heavy. Angeke lingabi heavy if uzohlezi ucriticizwa for every mistake that you make. People need to understand ukuthi these are human beings, they make mistakes, and it's okay. Yes, we expect more. Yes, we expect better from them. But are you telling me that after missing a chance, Upule Modi doesn't see that he made a mistake? Obviously, he knows that. After making a mistake, do you think Usaile doesn't know that he made a mistake? Of course he did. But now, if you look at the mentality of Abadlalbe Chiefs, look at Uhland, who was being booed the entire game. He didn't have a good game. We'll give him mama ratings in a moment. But towards the end of the game, there was a very vital tackle. First, it was Frosler who came and defended that ball off the line, and then it was Uhland who intercepted that ball. If Uhland was already disheartened by what people were saying, then Uhland was obviously probably not going to make that interception, because was like, oh no, vele they are booing me, so who cares if I make an effort? But no, players now kumele bahlezi baba strong la emakhanda. Abantu babhala udoti ngabo ku Twitter bathi this thing doesn't know football. If roles were reversed and we came to your job and we looked at how you did your job, would it be acceptable if we called you a thing for not doing your job properly? Yabo ukuthi abantu, it's unfair, and I have to address this, and I know ukuthi it's not about the game itself, but it's affecting how the team is performing sometimes, because once nathi uranga kakhishwe ekubeni uranga was being played in a wrong way in previous games, then uranga is going to lose his confidence. And all of these new players that we keep on saying, oh, we've signed players, and then we end up saying, why do players become bad when they come to Chiefs? Probably because you boo them the first mistake that they make. Yes, I know Guti, there's gonna be an issue, Guti, there's also a coaching issue or whatever issue that people see, but there's also a fan issue. And if that thing is not addressed and we're always just pointing at the players all the time, then we're gonna have a problem. Because Umtu Shabalala is not a bad player, but at some point abantu bese bekhuluma ngaye bethi ngane overrated and saying all the other things that they want to say to him, as if that doesn't affect lo muntu loya emotionally. There are people, they make mistakes. By the way, please do subscribe to the channel. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's look at how the team played. At the back, once again, we're solid. Very, very solid. And one of the players that everyone obviously pointed out how solid they were commanding and just wafaka ukhanyisa mayo ephaketheni in an intricate way. Yazi ukhanyisa mayo yesterday, he got subbed at some point. I think he was injured, but it didn't matter. He might as well have given up because he had no sniff of the ball. Was on the ball, Msimang was there. Was on the ball, Msimang was there. Was all the time. He had no chance on earth. He just couldn't do anything. And that was a brilliant performance from Ukivin Msimang once again. The only person that I am worried about is Utitloko, because we saw him getting injured. We're going to talk about the subs later on in the video, because now I'm combining player ratings and and all of this. We're gonna do player ratings later also. So he got injured, but Guayana, he had an okay game. Right back, Frosler once again, very solid, intercepting that ball and saving us from going to extra time and me from missing my flight. And then Uhlanti, yabo Uhlanti lapha emuva, inkinga kaHlanti esimshaya manje is ipace. Pace yamshaya man uHlanti. It's understandable. He's getting old, which is why I saw someone writing on Twitter ukuthi uMashiyane kumele ayimisele to compete in that left back position. Ischeme lesamfethe singathatheka. If ngumashiyane mina and I look at how Hlanti has been performing, he gets exposed pace wise, and sometimes he makes some decisions that are not that great. And umdlalo right, because technically uyakwazi ukuphasa ibhola, uyakwazi ukubheka abadlali phase and do all those things. He has experience, and in that way he does actually in some sense help the team. But sometimes there are a lot of questionable things that he ends up doing that makes me go how. Kodwa ke bhuti omdala yini izidliswa umdala uyabo leyo nto leyo. Like most of the times though, indaba yepace yakhe. But since Udove is out, since Umashiane is clearly not stepping up, I mean, we don't have any other choice, because ngeke uthi hayi thatha uFrosler nemdlalisi left back usuzomsonta. Frosler is playing very well right now as a right back. Played well against Umasego. He played well, he played okay with Chipa. He played very good yesterday as well. So now usuzothatha uFrosler mdlalisi left back and now change the position, lose the form. Sekumele manje ke sesinenkinga kwi left back, we bring on uSolomons kwi right back. Now he's a new thing. The things that are working, keep them working. Keep uFrosler kwi right back. I-center back pairing yethu izophazamiseka ke because uDetlo kulimele. But now don't force izinto ukuthi sesothi ngobuhlantu yaboza or hasn't had good games in the first two games sesiyamkhipha. No, maybe what we should fix kuHlanti is what I've been saying. One of the problems that we ended up having even in yesterday's game is the fact that in midfield, which I'm going to talk about in a second, we kind of get overrun at some point. They just do izinto nje simple abafana bavele bathene nathi, and then I'm like, hey naba abantu besichwenza, you understand? So what we could do is ukuthi to prevent uHlanti having to go all the way up and back, akanga overlap. Instead he must just invert and get into midfield, and in that way it helps us defensively because we have a numerical advantage in midfield when the other team is on the transition. And then if they do play the ball wide to the place where Uthland was supposed to be, it's a shorter distance to cover than to track back from the front and come back. It's a shorter distance. And also what we can do, if a ball also happens ukuthi it's switched to the left, then the person Utitloko who's playing on the left can then run to cover for him, and then Uhlanti slots in the position a centre back who is currently covering for him, and then everyone is recovering and is covering for everyone else. You get what I'm saying? Because let's say Utitloko is covering for Uhlanti, Umsimango follows, Uhlanti slots in that space, Castillo now goes across, and by that time Martin Abo they've come back and were marking. Because this thing yokuthi has to chase after a player iyamhlula. Kanti him inverting into midfield does give us two advantages. It distance I cover going back when he has to recover is shorter, and number two, we have a numerical advantage also if we're playing the ball in the midfield, what they call box midfield. You have Castillo playing a double pivot, no Hlanti because umnandi ebholeni as well, and then that also allows you to push Umat into a more advanced position, sort of a double 10, because now uzoba nomati bese futhi uba nabani nomduduzi mdantsane. So in that way you have four people. There is already that box in midfield, but also once you have more people, Umati no mduduzi mdantsane, you already have five people in good areas, because you have your front three, then you have your two players. And also once you have a double 10 yakho, what that also does, it allows ukuthi i-10 Umathi mayidlala ngapha, okay angadlali njenge-10 asithi 8 apushe wide kanje uzodlala kwi-half space, and that allows ukuthi our forwards i-starting position yabo ibe wide, even on the right as well. Because what will happen if there's this double pivot Hlanti no Castillo, and then there's Umati no Mdantsane, and then that means Usaile is wide or Utupri is wide, Umod is also wide, so their starting positions are also wide. Because what I've been saying with our wingers ukuthi, I don't like them when they start inverted, because it feels like a ground is it's too small for them. And if they start wide, then they cut in, then it opens the channel also for Frosler to then overlap, then Frosler ngadlalelwa ball. Obviously on the left where Uhlanti is, because he won't be overlapping, there could be a situation or coach abangabon guti how do they deal with that, because also they can use the numerical advantage ukuthi Uhlanti goes wide, not like overlaps, but it goes wide to offer support, and then Umat also goes wide to offer support. In a way we still have a numerical advantage out wide. But also on the right, if we attack a side in Frosler, Saile cuts in, or whoever is playing on that side, Frosler overlaps, we play the ball to him, he cuts the ball back. And since we're playing two people further up front, now we have more people who are going to be in the box. We have Uranga who's going to be in the box. We have Umtu running into the box. We have Umad running into the box. So already have three. And also Nangale Umod is also running into the box. Because once again, that's another problem that we've been complaining about. If ball across on 18, there is no one 18. And that's a problem on its own. And why is that? That's because our starting positions are too deep, because Skala nge double pivot ka Castillo no Mat. And that, as much as it helps us defensively, it kind of handicaps us offensively. Mdantsane being there, it does help us going forward. Uguti, he's better with controlling the game and holding the ball. But still, you can hold the ball for so long if you don't have support. Because in our midfield, because if you haven't noticed, we've jumped and we're talking about the midfield. We tend to start the game well, but it's fundega, and then sibe predictable, because bayazi ukuthi awumdu yedwa, there is no one omsupportayo, so mayithola ibhola ahlala kuye. You understand? So size sibenefite kahle makukuthi it's a transition, because like igol lela esilkorile, we get the ball and then we're able to play the ball in behind, because they are kind of all over the place. It's a transition, obviously. It's like ibhola lishintsha izandla from them to us, so in that way it's kind of easier to get them. But when everyone is on their positions, then we tend to struggle. Why? Because there aren't enough people who are supporting. And once again, it goes to how many people are in midfield, how many people are wide, how many people are in the half space, how many people are in the wide space, who is behind me, who is in front of me. All of those things I think could be down to ukuthi let's take this person that we think is a weakness and actually use him as our strength. Case in point, Liverpool so ukuthi uTrent bamngena ngale kwa right easy, bangena ngaye all the time as a right back. Kwathi okay somthatha sim-ede adlale kwi-double pivot, adlale no Fabinho hambile manje, but he's gonna play there. And what's gonna happen once again, because what was happening again with Salah is that he wasn't close enough. He was not close enough to the box because kwakumele njalo azosiza uTrent to mark. So now if we know ukuthi there are a double pivot here and uKonate is kind of covering for Trent, what ends up happening is that there's a player who's defensively sound on the right, and the moment that happens is whoever is trying to attack us through that right side, there's someone who's strong enough to mark them 1v1. But also what ends up happening is that Trent kunabantu abadlulayo la, yeah, my colleagues are passing here, but it's fine, let's continue. So what ended up happening is that Trent is still deep enough to cover the position that is vacated by Konate, right? What I was saying by Uhlantu ukuthi, if the position is being covered by Utitlokwe, then Uhlanti gets in that position. Same thing that Liverpool was doing. Trent ended up towards the end of the season making a lot of clearances inside the box because now his starting position was much more central. And what would happen is that if that winger beats Konate, Trent is there to just clear the ball away. Now his responsibility is not to mark people 1v1 because he's not good, but it's to try and basically clear anything that Konate fails to clear. And it kind of worked well. So I think Guatina, what looks like a weakness of ours right now, can actually be changed into our strength, and it qualifies and applies to all the other positions, as you have seen me kind of break it down. And talking about our other players, I will say this thing that people will not like maybe. I think Christian Saile has the potential of being better than Dupree. I'm making that statement. Why? Because Dupree is quick, Saile is quick. Dupree can dribble, Saile can dribble. But Dupree is a better goal scorer, and that's why he beats Saile. And most of the times, Dupree, the reason why even when he does fail to beat his men, what we notice is because his decision making yake ingcono kuneka Saile. But if you look at Saile is a stronger player than Dupree. He's stronger, he's bigger, he's taller. All of those attributes are physical, and because of that, he can use that as a winger to actually be better if he can be coached better. Because that's something that we always talk about. Coaching needs to be better for our players to be better, and I think Saile can actually do that if they can just say, look, no one to release the ball, no one to do that. But once again, we've also covered this. The other reasons why Saile will not be passing the ball is because there's no support, right? So but what I'm saying is not that Saile is better than Dupree, but it's to say that look at our attributes like physical, and add the fact that he's also just as quick and just as skillful as Dupree. Look at what he can do if they can just fix those one or two things. Because even yesterday, I remember when he crossed that ball for a goal, he dribbled, and then people started saying, "Oh, where I was?" And then he goes past his man, he crosses with his weak foot too, and it was so accurate. Castillo runs behind, and then he just scores. And by the way, with that goal, we are going to talk about it in a moment because I'm skipping things now. I've talked about how we scored our goal in a transition. Umtutuzi Mtanzane was able to spot Dupree running, and that's good. Our second goal, what I liked about it is the fact that it's two players taking responsibility. Pelukhumbula ukuthi Castillo is a defensive player, is a defensive midfielder, yet he overlapped and he pushed so far. It didn't overlap. He pushed up to a point yokuthi he was the furthest man up front. The furthest man up front to score a goal. That's him taking responsibility. Because you remember what I said? I said our players, what they would do is, in that case, Uranga was the only one attacking like the 18 area. He was the only one there. But if Bola goes far back post, there's no one there. Usually there would have been no one. But Castillo observes Ugutaibo. Usaile has the ball and he's going to cross the ball. There's only one person in the box. And then he identifies that space. He goes, he attacks that space. And also, I feel like this thing is also trained. Uguti, kumele, and I wouldn't say it's trained, man. Because we've played those balls, good back post, so many times and there's not been anyone attacking them. That is why I'm just going to attribute this to the brilliance of Khosi Uguti. He identified the space that wasn't attacked and he attacked it. Because so many times, even Utuse Khota, he's even lefty Chiefs, he would play a crossy and then no one would be attacking those crosses because they would just be Caleb attacking the near post, and then 18 area, there's no one attacking that area. Back post, there's no one attacking that area. So that is why I'm saying I'm giving this to Khosi Uguti. As a defensive player, he was still able to see that space and go out and attack it. My days, there are a lot of things to cover. Anyways, the subs, the coach and his subs. I think there are two things to say about this. They were the right subs, yeah? But they were late. I know Guti Isab got Ditlokwe because he was the first sub, kind of forced them to stop a bit. But I saw Ukwinika, I think they were about to change Uhlant and play Ufrosta go left back. So they were about to bring on Ukwinika, and then Utitloke indicated Guti was injured. So they changed their minds and they brought on Ungobo to come in instead. And then they left Ukwinika there. I understand that you're not going to go out and change two people from your defense, because as much as Abantu Bebetu Hlantu Yaboza and he wasn't having a good game, but at the end of the day, at least in a chemistry, he's used to playing with those people. So now if you're going to remove half of your defense, that's not really smart. So that was good from the coaches because they saw Guti, we don't want to change much. However, what I have a problem with is the fact that Mina no Zulu. By the way, shout out to Zulu, shout out to Sia, shout out to Mlu, because they're the ones who were filming me yesterday in Cape Town and helping me move around Cape Town. So shout out to them. I don't know if they will watch the video to this far. I know Uzulu will probably do it. But anyways, I'm saying that the other subs, I was saying Sino Zulu City, Aibo, yazi uphelile umat, uphelile umoti, and uphelile futhi nopotsani. We saw this. And balok behlala bengabashintsha, and eventually they changed them. And in some games, you are 5 minutes too late to make that sub because you keep on delaying that sub, and then the other team scores a goal. And then now when you bring on your subs, eventually they are now coming to chase the game. And the problem with players coming in to chase the game is that they are coming in already nervous. Playing for Chiefs just is nerve-wracking, I'm sure. But now coming in, and everyone is hoping, oh, here are the subs. They must make a change. They must. It's a known thing. If you are brought onto a game, you must change a game. But if you are brought onto a game and the team is losing, you feel like, oh my God, I really must change the game. So you see where I'm going with this, Uguti. Making subs early allows players to grow into the game and also to change the game while there's still enough time. And if you are just bringing them on, seku-1-1 vele kumele nifike nenze something, and leyo nto leyo, it adds unnecessary pressure to the players. And I feel like that's one thing that I didn't like about Zwane last season, and I've seen Unsegi doing it not way too much, but he's done it twice already. He did it with game in Sundowns and he did it again in this game. Uguti, you wait way too long to make the subs, and in some games you will get punished for that, and then the subs will not be able to make any difference in the game. Again, Peterson, people babempuisha Wednesday, he came back, he had a good game in my opinion and what I saw. Yeah, now time for player ratings. Peterson, I will give him a solid 8, because he did not only come back and after what had happened in the previous game, but he made some good saves. What we complained about a lot last season, shout out to the goalkeeper coach, is the fact that now Peterson, when he comes out to catch the ball, he is assured. There were times where he did miss the ball, which actually will make him get downgraded to 7, because once again, there were times where he comes out, he gets the ball, he's assured, you're like, yeah, that's good. And the goal that went in, he was unfortunate, but those were good reflexes. But hilo, sokushaya lapho lokho because it's not clear, but to me it looked like a goal. So it is a goal, but most of the times he was solid communicating with defense, coming out for crosses, because now these things siyibona ngathi into encane because the goals didn't go in, but last season we were conceding the goals that he actually did save yesterday, so he gets a 7 for that. Right back Frosla, one of our best players in the game once again, solid defensively. He was they were trying to pin him back, but still, if you're a defender and they're pinning you back and you are able to defend, it's good. Yes, it's affecting us offensively, but still you are being solid as a defender, which is kind of your primary job. So Baoti also gets a solid 8. And then we go to left back. Uhlanti did not have a good game at all. He did not. And I don't like giving players a lower rating. He did redeem himself with that interception towards the end of the game, but that's only enough to get him a 6. Ditlokwe, I think, I'm not saying he didn't do anything. It's just that Umsimango outshone. Yes, that's the word. He outshone him a lot. So Utitlok will just get a 7. And then Umsimango was very solid. He was marking a very, very dangerous player in the PSL. And he would get, I would say 8.5. Truly, an 8.5. He deserves it. Because he was cleaning up a lot for our midfielders. Because at times when they were getting overrun, he was coming in and cleaning up for them. So, Simango, 8.5. He would get a shout from being my man of the match, by the way. I think played really well. Go to midfielders. Castillo scores our goal, was solid. Better. He was moving forward, was coming back, doing his defensive work. Another solid performance, another 8.5 for me as well. Matt this season, guys, he has come back and is playing. He is a different player from what he was last season. I had people belok bengom Umat last season, but bengambon shame last season. Yeah, about this season, Umat has been really, really, really good, and eventually did get a man of the match. But to me, I don't think he had a better game than Castillo has. Not because he scored, but I don't think Umat had a better game than Castillo. So for me, Umat, I would give him an 8. Still had a very, very, very solid game. Really solid game. Offensively, we didn't see much of him, but once again, where he's positioned way too deep, and I think he can still influence the game on the other half of the pitch. But he's being played deep because Itimietu are kind of, I wouldn't want to call them defensively minded, but they are trying to be more solid defensively, because if you're not conceding goals, then you are in a better position, because if you are not conceding anything, then all you have to do is to go to the other side and score one goal. And if you are conceding goals, then you have to score a comeback, then you have to score a winner. So I kind of see where they are going, and it's okay because it has kind of worked. Has it? I don't know. Be the judge of that. And then Mtutuzi Mtanzane, I said Mat 8. Mtutuzi Mtanzane played well. One thing, which is not the ultimate thing about him that I didn't like, is the fact that there was a time there was a time when Usaile didn't pass him the ball, and he stopped and he started shouting at him, "Hi, pass out!" Yeah, of course, kumele sithethisane. Umuntu kumele aphase ibhola, and it's unacceptable ukuthi umuntu angaphasi ibhola. But the thing is, then after that, what usually happens is then you make mistakes yourself. Now bani ngosezokuthetisa wena nathi kumele sikumemeze, because after he shouted at Saile for taking that shot instead of passing, Saile should have passed. He then made like 3 mistakes in a row. I'm like, yabona ke manje lento yakho yokuthi ususe ubhici on someone else's face, but you also have your own things. So just talk to someone and le ndaba yokumathethisana uzokhipha umuntu egamini. I know this thing from myself. Ukudlala nabantu abazita bese mawenza mistakes ebeyakuthethisa, kodwa bona mabeboza no one says anything to them. Just side note and trauma from childhood, because you end up having so many doubts in your game. Because kwamina nje when I played football, sengiyazi ukuthi ngizothi ngithi ngitrap ibhola baluwine kimi and then kwenzeka mistakes. So every time I got the ball sengidlala one touch, every time ngidlala one touch mangena option sengizokhahlela ibhola, because angifuni lilahleke kimi ibhola. Why? Because nasi stars songithethisa. But he had a very, very good game, guys. He had a very good game. 7.5. Go to Pulemodi. I think he wasn't available, obviously. Went to bury his mom. Rest in peace, I mean, condolences to the family once again. So I don't think he was fully fit, but it did show us glimpses of what he can do. But then he got tired, obviously. So for him, he would get a 6, which is the same thing with Upotsane. He also got tired again, and then he just disappeared in the game. But I think even they got tired. Like after the first half, they were tired. Like 45 minutes they worked. After that, they were done. Because defensively, that's what I like to Guti. You are a winger, but you're coming back to help and mark. Obviously, as the coach instructed, but also that's just good to see players coming back to defend. Yes, yeah, in the video, I can feel it. And then if we're going to Ranga, no, to pre first, to pre. What can I say? Oh, wait. Yeah, I said 6-4, 6-4 Modi, 6-4 Upotsane, and then Utupri once again. He's always reliable. I think he should just add some muscle. I know Guti, obviously, sometimes you add muscle and it affects your pace. But he was getting bullied a lot sometimes by Umkize. Gets on the ball, he tries to beat him, and they fail to Umkize, and then that kind of affected him. So, because being short and his center of gravity, we've seen it work for Messi, work for Salah, so he can utilize that. But if you're not strong enough, we've seen no Salah, but bulky, but unayo strong enough muscle to know Guti he won't get bullied by anyone. Ask Rudiger. Anyways, Rudiger who did bully Salah, but then Salah ended up scoring in that game against Chelsea. It's just a side note of another thing, you know. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, Dupri gave us what we expected from him once again. Brilliant performance from him again. He also got tired, but they weren't gonna change him, because you change him, then who do you bring on? The only person that they could bring on for him is Umtutuzi Shabalala, who was going to play as a false 9, or not as a false 9, as a winger man in Tin Manch. Kozuranga came in and played as a number 9. So to solid performance, 8. And then Ranga comes in, and this time around was played more centrally. And I felt like the only thing that he didn't do right yesterday was the fact that he wasn't timing the balls when they were coming. He's now chasing the ball, and then it was too late, and then the defender would beat him to the ball. But it was better, and you could see Guti what they are trying to do. They were trying to have him to play just behind him, Umtansane that is, and then he would knock the ball down for him. Then Umtu will find Osaile White, and then Osaile will try to play him crosses. I haven't seen much. I hope he gets better. I see Guti, there is that potential. So 6. And then our other subs, who was it? Saile gave us an assist. Usaile, one of the things I love about him, people will say Ulahli Bola, football brains, this and that. But what I appreciate about Usaile is the fact that he takes initiative. Usaile, when he gets the ball, he goes forward, tries to beat his man. Magmela Kata was Kata in, but he hasn't done that much. So most of the times he goes down the line. But was Upinda Bui, which is better than what Usekhota would do. Ugutu bezama force cross all the time, even before beating his man. But Usaile will win you a foul. Hopefully it doesn't become like Usekhota again, because last season he would beat people and then get fouled, and then the referees ended up not judging for him. But in this case, Kasaile, he did well yesterday when he came on. And I like the fact that once again, after being booed for the past game, Chepa is still back and is still performing. So shout out to him again, Saile. I would give him a 7.5, because he did give us an assist that led to a goal. Well, an assist leads to a goal, so I don't know what Tumpilo is saying. Unsegi got the system, the team set up, the lineup right. The setup can still do better. The subs were okay, but late. So I would give Unsegi a 7. That's me. Give me your own player ratings. Give me your own opinions about the game. I feel like the video is very, very long. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.